Hi everyone, I'm Nicolas Doucet, the studio head at Team Asobi. We couldn't be happier with the reception to Astrobot and to see how much joy Astro is bringing to homes all around the world. On behalf of Team Asobi, thank you so much. Now, we still have a few surprises up our sleeves. Today's trailer was a sneak peek at a DLC we'll release later this year at no additional cost. We'll have more to share soon. But for now, let's enjoy the state of play.
Welcome to Between the Joysticks. Press start and then we're off. Nick and John, they've got the sauce. Breaking news and some hot takes. Even if there's some mistakes, Nick is captaining the ship, while John gives thoughts straight from the hip. But when their powers combine, we're all in for a hell of a time. Between the Joysticks is the best. Up to 6 things they will address. Tell all your friends and settle in. Between the Joysticks now begins.
Hello there, and welcome to episode 113 of the video game podcast Between the Joysticks.
A state of play episode.
It indeed is a PlayStation Pals themed episode again. I am your host, Nick, and that voice you heard is my co-host, John. Now, speaking of PlayStation,
End of John.
we're not doing a press X for drama, but we're gonna do a press square for Gimme Dat. Because before we get into the state of play, I did want to quickly talk about the PlayStation 30th anniversary.
Yeah, give me that.
and and the accessories and consoles that they're launching alongside it, which include the Edge, the DualSense, the Portal, the PS5 Pro, and PlayStation 5 Digital Slim.
And cable ties.
And cable ties.
And a PS1 cable.
Yeah, that on the 26th, the same day that you can pre-order the PlayStation 5 Pro, you're getting all these accessories PlayStation colored, PlayStation 1 colors.
The most sexy color combination in existence. Everybody says so.
Yeah. Again, if you want to, people don't want to spend $700 on a console, but if you give it the right colors.
Yeah, you're one of those people. Nick couldn't resist. Plus, I'm sure you probably have this in the discussion, but, just the idea if you can get your hands on one of these, being that one of the key pieces of information about the Pro, this version of the Pro is there's only 12,000,
13,000 or something.
Yeah, I think it's 12,300 is the official number. So if you can land one of these bad boys, it's probably immediately worth 2x the value.
Yeah, at least.
So.
But I didn't even realize though that bundle, which comes with the PlayStation 5 Pro, the cable ties, the paperclip. Got to mention the paperclip.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. No price.
No price, but it also comes with the DualSense Edge, the stand, and the charging thing. So that bundle alone is probably $1,000
at least. Yeah, I mean they broke down the cost, I think, on Sacred Symbols of everything in there, and yeah, I mean that's at a minimum $1,000,
right?
Which, again, I mean, not everybody can be that liquid and swing $1,000 at the drop of a hat, but if you can, it's a good investment. if you're okay with if you don't want to hold on to it, if you want to resell it, I'm not saying do that. That's bad form, Nick. Bad form, but
how could you resist that? Yeah. The market's gonna give you at least 2 to 3 times what you paid for it. Yeah. Weirdly enough, we don't know the price. Pre-orders will be live tomorrow, the day after the show is published. Don't know what time those pre-orders are going live, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to know that.
Are you going to be? Are you going to try and stay up till midnight tonight just to make sure?
No. Okay. No, I will. If it's like what the PlayStation 5 was, if it's like 1 p.m. Eastern time, I would probably just see if I see what happens.
Roll the dice.
Yeah. See what happens and go from there, but no.
If you don't get the console, are you in the market for any, you getting a controller?
No? Because I would have got the Astrobot one, especially if I could have, and I have 2 working controllers, and
yeah, but this is a special, this is the one though that you maybe spend the $75 even if it's not used all that much.
I know, but again,
we'll get you one time. We'll get you soon.
Yeah, like I said, we'll eventually something will get there, a Wolverine controller, but
I don't think you can get better than this for me. I don't think any type of specific brand, like a Nier controller, a Hades controller. I don't know, man. This is like
Ooh, a Hades controller would be pretty dope.
you could make the
color
colors,
scheme of it.
Yeah, the
Hades.
orange and blue could pop real well. But like, it is the sacred symbols.
Never say never, all right? Never
That's
say
true.
never.
That's true.
You know, so, there's always the one thing.
Yeah, but I don't sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I mean, and before we move on, and good luck to all of our listeners. If you somehow snag anything, if you get the PS5 Pro or any of these accessories, and if you get the big one, you get that bundle.
Yeah.
Please write in. Let us know. We will happily celebrate with you. So we wish you luck here tomorrow on the big pre-order day. Again, that's September 26th. So good luck.
Godspeed. You'll need it.
All right. Well, that's all I got, John, because I think we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Pack show.
This won't be a normal show by any means. What we're gonna do is we got a lot of emails, which is awesome.
Feels good.
Fucking awesome. I love everyone I love all our listeners, but if you write in, you have a special place right here in my heart. But and then we're gonna go right into the state of play.
He did point to his heart, by the way, just so everybody knows.
And go into all of those announcements. But if you want to be heard on this show, I'm going to let you know how you can do that. You can follow us on Twitter at JoysticksPod, DM us there. You can write a comment on our YouTube page at Between the Joysticks. We'll read your comment on the show. And finally, you can email in your question to betweenthejoysticks@gmail.com. Any of those things, we'll bring it and read it on the show, just like these 4 listeners did. All right. Are you ready, John?
Yep.
You got your question answering hat
Yeah,
on?
I'm giving them 5-word answers maximum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's it. That's it. We
Those
got to
voting a
go.
lot
We
of
got
time.
stuff to talk about.
All right. Email number 1 from new pal of the show, Julio. Thank you for writing in, Julio. Hey, guys. My name is Julio, and I've been listening to y'all's podcast for a little over a year now. I've really enjoyed listening to y'all's takes over the gaming industry, and so I've finally gotten around to emailing you guys. So for my first question, I thought since Astrobot came out recently and seeing all the cameos that are in it, I got to thinking, what was your all's entrance into the PlayStation world? Was it trying out a certain console for the first time, or maybe seeing an exclusive game being announced? For me, it was while watching the PlayStation Showcase during E3 2016 and seeing Marvel Spider-Man being announced for the first time. I remember getting so excited and buying myself a PS4 shortly after. Uncharted 4 came bundled with the system, and after finishing it, that's when my love for single-player games and PlayStation exclusives started. I used to own a PS2 and a PSP back when I was a kid, but I didn't have an appreciation for video games like I do now. I've now become more open to trying new games. Anyways, I'd love to hear y'all's PlayStation origin stories and see how you guys became the fans that you're all today. Thank you guys, and keep up the good work.
All right. Well, great email, Julio. First off, I would like to apologize for Nick's way he says y'all. We are Northern boys, and we don't say that word a lot here. So, I would like to apologize on our behalf.
Well, yeah, we'd love to know where you're from, but yeah, there are a lot of y'alls.
A lot of y'alls, but that's okay. Yeah, so this one is a fun one because it kind of caused me to look a little inward and kind of try to figure out how I arrived at this place in life as well. But I got my gaming started super early. I was born in 1989, which I think is relevant just when it comes to kind of knowing where people start their gaming journey. And my parents were nice enough to get me a Sega Genesis probably when I was, I want to say 6 or 7, maybe, probably 6. And so obviously there wasn't a PlayStation Sony competitor at that time, so that's just where I ended up. And then played that until one of those magical Christmases rolled around. I feel like it was 1998, so I was about 9. And do the typical thing. What do you guys want? You throw out the highest things possible and hope for the best, believing that Santa may or may not bring it to you. And my parents got me a PlayStation 1, which is a huge moment because that came alongside Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, just these games that are perfect for a kid that age. So it just, obviously started some sort of loyalty or type of thing with that company at that moment. And I do remember really wanting an N64 as well. You know, I had friends that had Super Smash Brothers and Zelda, and being very jealous of, and GoldenEye, of course, jealous of what they were playing over there. But you know, I never got one, and so I played exclusively on PlayStation, which led me into the PS2 when that rolled around. You know, I used the DVD argument with my parents, and that worked as well. And I think the PS2, to get to the core of your question, I think that was the sticky point. There's a lot of different parts of my journey that in gaming that are very important, right? You know, when I first bought my first console with my own money, which was a PS3, spending that amount of money was a big moment that kept me more invested in that ecosystem as well. But the PS2, with 2 games particular, I think was where I go, yeah, this is where I want to play, at least primarily. And those 2 games are Gran Turismo 3 and Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy X I often kind of use as my example as that first like grown-up type game for me, where it's like I'm not just kind of mashing buttons, I'm not fighting, I'm not just shooty shoots, I'm like kind of going through this thing that I got to pay attention to, and I loved it. You know, to this day, it's one of my favorite games ever. And then with Gran Turismo 3, by far the biggest racing game I've ever been into. I really haven't been into any type of game like that since, but I broke my arm playing football in 9th grade and was basically useless for a while. Like, I had one of those dumb casts that went past my elbow up to like halfway up my arm, and so I couldn't do much besides hold a controller. And it, you know, kind of limited what I could do on a controller. So I couldn't do like a lot of twitchy movements and things like that, but I found that Gran Turismo was perfect for that. So that just kind of, you know, created these 2 experiences that, you know, really elevated gaming beyond just like a passive thing into like, holy shit, I really, really like this. And then just kind of stayed. I mean, you know, I have a Switch. I famously just sold my Xbox, so it's not like I am solely PlayStation, but at this point now with the back catalog I've you know, curated and the trophy system and all that stuff, I'm here to stay. But that's kind of, I think, you know, a long form answer. I think that's a little more than 5 words.
Is that your 5-word answer?
Yeah, that's my 5 words.
Like, wow. Oof.
Yeah, follow that up.
I don't think you can add here. Whew. Okay, follow that up.
Yep.
I'll leave my answer kind of strictly around PlayStation, since that's kind of the question here. I never owned a PlayStation until the PS3, but I did grow up around it. My best friend growing up had a PS1, so that's where I got exposed to Metal Gear and Grand Theft Auto before it was 3D, and Final Fantasy and Resident Evil 2, and Star Wars Master of Terrakasi, that horrible fighting game.
What the hell is that?
A really bad fighting game with Star Wars characters. But I did get a launch PS3. I regret saying that I paid $100 to some scalper above the asking price at the time. And I remember using that period to mainly go back and play PS2 games. That's where I caught up with Jak and Daxter, God of War, Ratchet and Clank, a lot of those, Final Fantasy 12. A lot of those games I went back and played.
What about the Metal Gear sequels?
Yep, Metal Gear. Yep,
okay.
3 I played, and then of course eventually 4 came out and played it there. But I really wasn't that hot on PlayStation at the time. Just Xbox 360 and its like online multiplayer was just stealing my time away with Call of Duty and Left 4 Dead and titles like that, and that's where all my friends were playing. So I really didn't play much of my PS3, but it wasn't until I had an Xbox One and saw the exclusives going to PlayStation 4 that Horizon Zero Dawn was my breaking point. So I bought a PS4 in 2017, and then
was it a Pro? It was a Pro, right?
It was a Pro.
Yeah.
And since then, it had become my primary gaming platform. And then, you know, it just kind of escalates more and more, you know, as I met John and got more into platinum trophies, and, you know, and then the lead up to the PS5 and just being like, yeah, this is the better console. This is where the games are that I want to play. You know, third-person dad simulators are my jam. And, yeah, that's where I've been ever since. And I've not even batted an eye at another platform. So.
I was about to say, and is there any possibility in the future that you could see yourself going PC or anything one day? You're yeah.
I love console gaming. I mean, I had a gaming PC at one point in my life, and I did like it for 4X games and whatnot, but no, console gaming is just the simplicity of putting a disc in,
Yep.
having it install, and especially now that console load times are comparable to PC. It's just there's just no way.
Sure.
I will never not be on a console. So
Fucking right, Julio. There you go, bud.
yeah, so I hope that answers your question. And yeah, again, when we started this podcast, it was like we were both playing on PlayStation more than anything. So at the time, I felt like, well, it would be bad to mislead people to make any other title for the podcast. And us, they're like, wow, they talk about PlayStation a lot. And I do realize that's funny, saying the last like 4 weeks have been so much PlayStation.
Yeah.
the news cycle has just led that way.
That's where the shit is. You know?
So, but we wanted to open it up to a larger audience. And, again, it's not that I'm opposed to it forever, doing an Xbox or a Switch. When the Switch 2 is announced, that'll be a big day on this show. And I'm excited for
Zelda
it.
coming tomorrow, so I got you.
Yeah, there you go. I hope that answers your question. That's email number 1.
All right. Let's keep it rolling.
All right. Email number 2 comes from pal of the show, Nick, not me. Hello, Joysticks. It's pal of the show, Nick, and I have a question for you. What is one of your favorite games that most people may not know about? Mine is a game called Chrysalis for NES, which was an isometric action RPG that had Link to the Past vibes, but much faster movement and gameplay. The environments were cool. The power-ups and magic you cast from your sword made you feel like a boss, and the music, the music. And he included a link to the overworld music. This was also the one video game I ever played with my dad, which gives it a personal bonus. Thanks for the episode. The show is on my must-listen rotation of podcasts. Looking forward to your answers. Cool. That's a trickier one, John. Do you got an answer right away?
Yeah, so I wrote down a couple ones. It is a much trickier one, and I wish I had some sort of master list of all my games I've ever played. Like that would be the coolest thing ever. So I wanted to not, there's Neon White. I was like, yeah, we've talked about that so much. One I want to throw out, of course, in typical fashion, I have 5 written down.
Okay.
So, first one is a PS4 game. It's by a Sony first-party team, but wasn't at the time. And I don't think it's a game that most people don't know about, but I don't think I've ever literally heard anybody talk about it, and that's Alien Nation. It's a game that I platinumed. It's one of the more intensive platinums I've ever done, where you have to effectively beat the game or get to level 30 without dying once, it's a game you die pretty easily. But I just found myself addicted to it. It was just super fun, twin-stick shooter. If you know Housemarque games, you know exactly what it is. This one, close to both of our hearts, Nick. I don't, again, really know the level of notoriety, but Gunstar Heroes is just a game that I thought nobody ever knew about. I do see it pop up on some lists as one of the better Genesis games out there, but that game is fucking awesome. And then I want to give a little shout out to Danganronpa, which I've mentioned on the show. I'm playing it right now. Japanese visual novel game. It's another one that I think most people look at and they just go, I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole, but it's really, really good if you like visual novels type games and just a wacky story with wacky characters, and you never know where it's going to go. And then my last 2, which I think are probably my best 2 answers. The first one is a game called Severed, which came out on PlayStation Vita. It was a Vita exclusive for a long, long time from Drinkbox Studios, makers of Guacamelee and Nobody Saves the World, where it's a dungeon crawling game that really, really takes advantage of the touchpad on the Vita, which is why it was stuck there for such a long time, because you literally do combat by swiping on the screen. But it was a really, really cool, unique experience from a really talented team that just got really, really overlooked because the Vita was a very dead console even when that came out. Drinkbox was one of the few supporters of that system, so that's a really, really cool game. I think they brought it to Switch or something. But again, that's called Severed. And then I'm trying to think of a game from my past. Did you ever play a game called Maximo Ghosts to Glory?
No.
It's from Capcom.
No.
It's a PS2 action RPG. It's more just kind of an action platformer. It's in the Ghosts and Goblins franchise, I guess. But it's just your typical use a sword, get some chests, kill some enemies.
Oh yeah.
It's nothing crazy, but
I know the character, the box art.
Yep. But it was one of the many, many games that I'm sure I rented on a random weekend. I was like, I really, really like this, and maybe everybody listening is like, you're an idiot. All 6 of those games are very well known. But I think those are at least some more off the beaten paths ones, games that we can put a little more attention to, because I don't remember a lot of my early days, with like on the Genesis and stuff like that. Plus, I feel like I was just playing like NHL '94 and Sonic 2. So, but yeah, that's what I got.
Good. Yeah, that's a good list. Yeah, I got a couple. First up is there's a Super Nintendo RPG that I love that I don't think I've ever met anyone that said they have played it.
And I have another answer. Sorry, I'll let you go. Keep going.
All right, here we go.
Sorry.
It's called Illusion of Gaia from Enix, and it was on the Super Nintendo, but just an amazing game, amazing soundtrack. My neighbor at the time had it, and even though I didn't own it, I think I beat it a few times at his house. But it just had everything. I mean, this is Enix before it was Square Enix, and it just, again, in that stable of amazing RPGs that those two studios would produce together. It's just another one of those that, again, it's easy to get forgotten when you're on the same platform as Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI and the big boys that kind of dominate all the air in the room. But I love that game, and I don't know how he found it.
Didn't they release that on like modern day consoles?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
And then there's a lot of like 360 and especially Xbox One games that are just like gone. Like I'll always say Sunset Overdrive, the one Insomniac game that was an exclusive to Xbox One, is an amazing, amazing game. If you like Spider-Man, if you like Ratchet and Clank, this is a good mixture of both with just an incredible animation. Just search Sunset Overdrive respawn animation, and every time you respawn was just really silly and really funny and just an amazing game. And I have every achievement for that game. Another Xbox 360 arcade game was just a Risk game made by EA. It was really fun, really good art. Kind of had like the Advanced Wars, like the faction you choose had like special abilities, but another game that I played a lot of and got all the achievements in. And then let's see, I got some more here. I just had it up. Omega 5, which is a kind of like what are those shooters called? Like
Shmups?
It's like a shoot 'em up, but like when you're the little ship and then all the little beams are coming through.
Yeah, Shmups.
It's one of those, and it was probably, I think it had to have come out right when it launched because
What was it called? Omega
2008. Yeah, Omega 5. And another game that I just played a lot of.
Omega 5
great
fatty
soundtrack.
acids.
Great soundtrack. Got all the achievements, but I would imagine most people are like, what? What game is that? I think that's the ones I can think of. Of course, I'll be driving home later today and be like, man, I could have thought of another 6, but
that's why I'm glad I thought of the one I thought of, because it was legitimately probably my top 3 favorite games on Genesis. Toe Jam and Earl Panic on Funkotron.
I think most people know Toe Jam and Earl.
They do, but like when everybody thinks of Toe Jam and Earl, they think of the top-down first version. This is a side scroller.
Okay.
Where everybody I've heard that kind of like mentioned they forget about this one, where you take these dumb jars and you go and collect humans and whatnot, but it's just it looks way better than almost any other Genesis game to me. I mean, at least it's got really, really colorful graphics and whatnot. But that one was. It just did a lot of things that are probably, if I went back and played it now, I would say this game is not special at all. But as a little kid, where you're starting to learn like how game design is, and like I remember specifically, there was this area or level where there was like a random arrow sign and it was pointing in a direction. I was like, what is that? And I walked over there and I just pressed up on the D-pad for some reason. And I just like walked into a secret like portal or something that just wasn't there at all. And I was just like, I broke the game. It's just like a moment where I thought I just found something that nobody's ever found their entire life. And so special game. The game's awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Cool. Email number 2.
Email number 3.
Email number 3. No, well, I mean, we just did 2. Now on
Okay.
on to 3.
Okay. All right. Email 3 is from pal of the show, Freddie B. Hey, Nick and John, got another hypothetical for you. I think you both will have some different answers based on your likes, dislikes, so I'd love to hear them. If you could create a video game from another medium, what would it be and what type of game? I'm a big reader and love fantasy and science fiction books. There's a fantasy book series called Cradle by the author Will White. I think it'd be a great video game. The series is all about martial arts and the main character's quest to save his homeland using said martial arts. The thousands of fighting styles and in-depth world building would make a great third-person action RPG, something like Jade of Empire. Was that Jade? I think it was just Jade Empire.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't find my. If only we got a second one, or God of War Ragnarok. You could easily make a video game about the character from the books, or create a completely standalone game that complements the books. Appreciate the podcast and you guys reading my emails.
Nice. I'm just thinking of 1,000 fighting styles. I'm like, you want to go first with this one?
Sure. Yeah, I know we're getting a Wolverine game, but I know we're getting a lot of Marvel games, so I don't want to say too much about it. But just more X-Men games. X-Men Legends that eventually became Marvel Ultimate Alliance, like those kind of like top-down Diablo type games, but with superheroes. That is really an untapped market to combine those.
Doesn't feel like it, but I know you're right.
There's not one out currently.
Yeah.
Marvel Heroes tried to be that, but that got shut down. And I know I'm not the typical weeb on the show, but Ghost in the Shell is probably one of my favorite anime series / cyberpunk series, and I know it has gotten a game on consoles before. But if it got a serious budget and a serious look into because Ghost in the Shell is all about this special sect of the government called Section 9 that goes on cases that are unusual, usually involving the military or foreign nations, and I think there's a lot of avenues you could take that, along with the cyberpunk hacking and cybernetics and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, for me, I thought of one that I really, really liked. So I didn't think of multiple in this one, unlike how I usually am. But for me, I immediately thought of Studio Ghibli. And for those who are unaware, that's the team that does all that Japanese animation movies that everybody fucking loves and are always great. Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, all those kind of things. But specifically, I want to focus on Spirited Away, which is probably the crown jewel of that studio. It was the first foreign animated movie to win the Best Picture for animation. Incredible movie if you haven't seen it. But it's just perfect for a video game, and not necessarily a game that's up my alley, but you could do it perfectly, right? You're effectively in a make-believe spirit world in a bathhouse that these spirits visit to go relax and clean themselves, enjoy food, whatever the case is. So you automatically have the cozy vibes, the Animal Crossing style, maintenance type of game. You have incredible, unique characters with different types of spirit monsters and things coming in. You could easily do some sort of Dave the Diver type game where it's okay, during the night, because the spirits only come out at night, you manage this bathhouse, you make sure that the guests who are coming in for the day are taken care of, that you have the things that they need, and then during the day, maybe you're out exploring, getting different plants, different things. If you know what the guest list is, you can make sure that you have the items you need so that when they come in, whether they need a specific kind of ingredient in their bath or whatever, but it just seems perfect, and I do absolutely love that movie. But it's just brimming with creativity, and I think and even Studio Ghibli has worked in the video game space in the past. Ni no Kuni and Ni no Kuni 2, which was made by Level 5, had some help with Studio Ghibli had some help with those games. So I just love that idea so much that I kind of just went with that one.
Yeah. When I read this email to you out loud, and you instantly came up with that answer, I was like, God damn, like that, for off the top of your head, that's incredible. Because I usually don't go to I love Spiritfarer and other games that are in the Dave the Diver segments where you're taking care of, you're not diving, you're running the restaurant. Like those, that's probably one of my favorite parts of the game. And I think that that's a no-brainer. That
Yeah.
that would easily work so well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I know Miyazaki, not the From Software guy, but the Hayao Miyazaki. He's the lead of that studio. I think he's tried to retire like 4 separate times, so I don't know how the future of that studio will be, but I think that'd be cool. And then, not that there's not games in this medium, but I want a AAA good anime game. Like, you know, it can be Attack on Titan, it can be Jujutsu Kaisen, it can be Demon Slayer, it can be Cowboy Bebop for all. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's crazy that anime is as large as it is. It's like the biggest fucking thing in the world. But every time a game gets made, it's just budget and B tier. And, you know, it's like if you gave that a proper studio, you know, free reign to go do some sort of open world anime game, I think it would be, you know, because, dude, that shit is just, it's video game-esque in every which way, right? It's like, now I'm a little more powerful. Oh, I'm as powerful as I can get. Just kidding. And we just keep going up and we keep going up and you get these, you know, special abilities and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's where my brain went. Japanese shit.
No, it's good. It's good. I like cozy games. There needs to be more cozy games anyway. So.
Yeah, there's
back
a
to your
good
first
amount.
answer.
It's just I feel like there's just a lot of mid cozy games. It's
Yeah.
hard to find a good one.
Yeah, and then by cozy game, not another like farming simulator. For the love of God.
Not Stardew.
Well, that's like the king.
It is.
It's just like there was that Nintendo Direct like 2 Nintendo Directs ago that was like had like 6 of them
It's
in
like
it.
Fae Farm and
Yeah,
and there's like
You're
the
just
Tales of the Shire game coming out.
Yeah, and you're just like, come on, like
Yeah.
something different.
Spirit Fair is a great example of a cozy game that's not that.
Right.
It's a good one.
All right. On to our last email. This comes from pal of the show, Jesse. Last but not least. Hope you're doing well and enjoyed the state of play. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it. Prepare for a long question. What would be your video game make or break video game turn-offs and turn-ons and turn-offs? I know that's quite similar to your video game pie, but I was trying to think of little things that can dampen or enhance your experience in games, like the quality of life features in Prince of Persia. I was playing the Plucky Square, and I got a few hours in and realized the game is very handholdy and doesn't like to let you think for yourself. I understand this game may be for kids, and I'm probably not the target audience, but I'd imagine even kids would get bored with it after a while like I did. While I did enjoy what I played, it was very much, I know what to do because the game showed me what I need to do. Now I need to do the thing it wants me to do. Another example would be soundtracks. A bad soundtrack won't exactly make the game terrible, but a good soundtrack can enhance your experience even beyond playing it, and I listen to game soundtracks even now. Anyways, I hope this makes sense. Looking forward to the next episode.
Right off the bat, Jesse, let me just agree wholeheartedly with your soundtrack statement. I'm not going to talk about it in my answer because I don't think I think I have in the past, but dude, yeah, like Nier Automata, Hades, like my favorite games of all time, they have my favorite soundtracks of all time. So absolutely.
Yeah, Doom.
Doom is another good one. For things that I hate, you know, there's very few things that will make me just turn off a game completely. But if there's one thing, and this is a broad answer, so, you know, there's nuance to it, but clunky movement. I can't do clunky movement. It's been always my problem with Rockstar games, and you know, even something like Metal Gear, which I know has like gameplay in the sense of like you can do an incredible amount of variety with how you tackle something, but it just feels hard to move Snake the way I want to move him.
You don't like X the crouch and then double X the prone?
I don't. I don't. And, you know, I get, or, you know, something like Death Stranding, not to throw another Kojima game out there, but I need to feel like my movements are doing exactly what I want. I hate skippable cutscenes.
Yeah.
I never skip a cutscene the first time I see it through, but if it's at the start of a boss fight and I have to watch it every time, bullshit.
Respecting your time is big.
Yeah.
Bad checkpointing is another one.
Yeah. And funny enough, not to bring up Final Fantasy X again in this podcast, but when they remastered those games for the PS4, I was so excited. They didn't add skippable cutscenes. And I was just like, I don't understand why. It's crazy. Enemies that level with you, hate that shit. That's annoying. Like, part of video games are power fantasies. Like, if I'm grinding and getting ahead, I don't want to go back to the beginning area of the game and just have them feel like they felt when I first saw them.
Right.
And then lastly, for negatives, I hate uninspired skill trees. When you go into a skill tree and you get that level up and you feel good about it, and then you go in there and it's just like, increase dodge percentage by 3%. And it's just like, dude, that sucks. Like, that hurts.
Suicide Squad, we're looking at you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I like, when I think of a good skill tree, I think of Borderlands, honestly, like Borderlands 2 specifically. It's like I feel like when you move down there, it like has these little like you're gonna increase all your power, but it's like adding variety to the way that your character is able to approach combat, not just making numbers go higher. But then and then things I like just leveling up everything, like a Skyrim or Oblivion style leveling system where it's just like everything gives me Vampire Survivors. Like I'm just I'm hitting all that, watching my character get a lot stronger. There's a lot of things I love, but that was just kind of the first thing that I thought of.
Yeah, those are good answers. Yeah,
I know they're good answers, Nick.
Oh, Jesus.
I thought of
so
them.
defensive. Gameplay loops are like the thing I think about the most. One of my biggest criticisms of battle royales is that gameplay loop at the beginning to the point where you die, and then the time it takes to get back into the server, into the queue, onto the flying thing,
Out of the gulag.
yeah, and then drop out of the ship, find the loot, get back in, and to get instantly killed again. That loop sucks.
Yeah.
And video games have to do a good job of making that loop very well. Like Astrobot. In Astrobot, you die, you see the little helmet go bloop bloop, and you're right back in it. And the checkpoints are very forgiving, and it's just like there's just no delay in the game. It's like, and that's why I kind of like Call of Duty standard. Like that's why I prefer that. You die, you come back. Just standard team deathmatch. It's like I'm just right back in the action. I'm not sitting around waiting. And then another turnoff is for stealth games. Is like if I get caught in a stealth game, you have to have good options for me to get out of that situation, and it has to feel good.
Yeah.
One of my big problems with Star Wars Outlaws was you get caught in that game, and it's just like I might as well just reload my save, and that never feels good. Because again, that's not respectful of my time. That's me backtracking to get back to where I got caught, and now I know that guy's in that position. Now I gotta figure out a different way to do it, and then if he catches me again, I'm doing that loop again, and that's what I back to like Metal Gear. Maybe they don't control the best, but I think one of the smartest things he ever did is when in Metal Gear Solid 5, when an enemy saw you, time slowed down, and so you didn't have to like panic. You could be like, where is he? Who saw me? And react.
Yeah.
And you had that split second or two to get out of the fail state of getting caught and the alarm going off and fighting your way out, and which that game did very well too, letting you deal with a whole base being alert to your presence. But when games suck at that,
Yeah. Good answer.
But turn-ons again, like the video game pie comparison is correct. Great characters, great writing, a story that is engaging. Unlike my counterpart here, I can push through those negative things if there's a story we're seeing, if there's characters I enjoy being around, a la a Mass Effect's Garrus. Why I'm hoping Dragon Age the Veilguard is good is because I hope that it has a story and companions that I can care about. And even we'll get into the state of play demo that didn't look all that great. If those other things are good, I can forgive a poor dragon fight. That'll keep me going. So There you go.
All right. Keep it coming, boys and girls. Everybody, keep it coming.
Yeah, no, it's
Let's
beat this record of 4 emails in one show.
Makes my no, I was gonna say makes my tummy tickle. That's a bad thing to say. I don't know. Makes me feel good. All right. Well, we all know why you came here today. We all know what everybody's talking about in the video game space. That was our what?
I just want to say, were we not right last week to do the predictions episode?
Oh yeah, yes, Nick, you
because it happened.
Yep, it happened, and we were getting a little worried early in the week. We got to Monday and heard nothing, but we know now that Sony is the most gun shy company in the world, so they like to keep it close. So got the announcement on Monday?
Yep.
Monday afternoon.
Yep.
And then we were treated with it yesterday at 6:00, and so this was the first state of play that was going to be simulcast in Japanese at the same time as English. So we kind of thought it might be a little Japanese oriented, but
and we got a heads up about it was going to be over 30 minutes and 20 plus games. So that's a lot.
I was a little bummed it wasn't branded a showcase, but not to put out any spoilers. it was a pretty decent state of play. So let's get right into it. We're just going to kind of go through it, Nick, like we usually do. Have little write-ups for each of them. If you want to kind of move on, if you want to stop and talk, we'll go that way. But I want to start off, obviously, with how they started off, which I kind of found a little funny, that they're like, hey, guys, we're riding this wave of positivity and good vibes, and we're just going to, here's Astrobot immediately. We know you're all still talking about it. We know it's great. Throw Astrobot out there. Throw the dude who made Astrobot out there. Let's just start this thing off right. So we got a Astrobot DLC trailer, specifically talking about 5 speed trials and extra bots that are going to be added in this fall for free. The speed trial levels will be dedicated levels. It's not going to be just kind of, Crash Bandicoot style. You can just take any of the existing levels and try and get through as fast as you can. So that's exciting. And again, that will be free at an undisclosed date in the fall. Anything you want to say about that, Nick?
Well, as we had mentioned, the credits thank studios that are not in the game. And in this, we saw Stellar Blade and Helldivers. Just leaves the question, where are my Concord bots? Where are my Concord bots? Because they only showed 2, as another 8 could be a Concord bot.
What if there was they do an update and just way in the distance you see like an Astrobot like pushing like a Star Child bot off a cliff. And that's it. It'd be so mean. Square Enix is the big one, right? Where's Cloud? Where is he?
Yeah.
Where are you?
We talked about it, but this is cool.
Yep.
I'm gonna get these 10 bots.
Yeah. So and then they brought out Nicholas Doucette, who is the game director of Astrobot, just to basically kind of. It almost felt like he was like the torchbearer, like, all right, everybody, now have a great state of play, and then we went and had a great state.
And
of
I think
play.
he teased like there's more to talk about with Astrobot.
Yeah.
So I think there's more coming beyond this.
And if anybody can get a good read on where you can get his hoodie, let me know, because his
I think
hoodie,
it's on their store.
It probably is. It's probably like $85. All right, so let's get into some new game announcements. So first game they showed off from Moon Hood Studios, the makers of Lost in Random. We have The Midnight Walk, which is a game handcrafted in clay. You can play it on PSVR 2 or PS5, which is, really cool. I love it when they do that. And it has some of the most unsettling art direction I've ever seen. No date on this one yet, but again, the handcrafted in clay piece is definitely the special sauce of this game. How did this one strike you, Nick?
You're instantly drawn to the art style. I don't know how the game will play, but you got to really hand it to them for them. It's funny. Now we got 2 Midnight games kind of using the same kind of like animation style.
Oh, South of Midnight.
Where you're not seeing every frame of animation, the kind of thing we saw with like Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse. But no, this looked very interesting. And again, kind of like I was going to bring away for the end of this, but it's like there are so many games. And I know last week John talked about there's so many games, like I don't care if games come out more quickly. And I kind of had that thought when I saw yet another game from another studio. And I'm just like, how am I supposed to keep track of all these games? Mm-hmm. Like this is getting to be very much.
So when you got to listen to podcasts like us. So if we don't have our shit together, Nick, nobody does.
Yeah. So even for us, they keep track and to bring it to every show, like it's crazy. But I don't know if you saw this image. This was on the PlayStation blog.
Okay.
Every monster is handcrafted.
Dude,
isn't that awesome?
That's unreal. Like that's some Coraline shit.
Yeah. They made every thing in clay.
That's really cool, and like those are nice looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's yeah.
I'm sorry, I derailed him.
No, yeah, it's a really, really, you guys should all look that up. But a really nice looking figures. But I mean, yeah, that's how is this game play? Is it a super short experience? One of the questions I always have when you see these incredible artistic visions is usually they're going to be handicapped or kneecapped in some way. Not any fault of the people making it, but just you simply can't make a 30-hour game when you're moving clay figures every which way. And are you able to have a very robust combat system with that also, right? How can you play with that medium? So it'll definitely be interesting to see what kind of game it is. But it's one I'll have my eye on. I love a good, unique looking thing. So Cool. Next up from Rogue Factor Games, Hell is Us. This looked to be a Souls-like combat type of game, but I was reading up a little bit on this, and I think it's a little more puzzly than people were expecting. Specifically, the developer was talking about how they're taking an approach to the game design where there's absolutely no hand-holding. There's no guide markers. There's no quest markers. You're meant to basically listen to the NPCs, examine the world, and that's going to kind of lead you to progress through the game. Neat idea. Very tough execution. Did Hell is Us do anything for Nick?
Well, it was funny. While we were watching this thing, someone said this looks like a Housemarque game, and that kind of got me. I was
Looks like
Returnal. It had the Returnal like orbs. That kind of just like that open. Boy, my brain is not functioning right now. Omega 5 game that I was talking about. It had like kind of like that kind of enemy design too of Returnal that could have ended and said it was Housemarque, and I'd have been like, whoa, what the hell? But yeah, it looks interesting. They're gonna do a big exclusive showcase this upcoming Monday on the game and go into more of the gameplay. Like you'll watch someone actually play it as opposed to the trailer. But what I just said on the last game is like, here's another game.
Yeah.
I got to keep track of this one too.
Yeah, I like the way the enemies looked, and specifically, so they all have these like ghostly white figures, but it looks like red shit pops out of them, and that's how they kind of attack and whatnot. So I like the look of that. What I will say I didn't really like, and it was only it's a nitpicky thing, but like the last image of the trailer, it shows like the character in Hell is Us. And I just don't like the way he looks. He's got like a hood and a ball cap on. He looks like he's kind of in Watch Dogs. He's got a drone.
Yeah, he does.
He's got a drone behind him, but then he's got like a magic sword he pulls out. It just seems like it's a weird combination of ideas there. But that might be intentional. It might be like, oh, I'm trapped in a world that I shouldn't be in. But
pick a lane.
pick a lane. All right, and then next up, so PSVR 2 has kind of been. It almost seems like PlayStation wants to forget about it. It wants to stuff it in a corner and just say that it never happened, it never existed, and we're just going to move on. But they gave a little bit of shine to the PSVR 2, and with this specifically, we knew this game existed, but we got a release date for Metro Awakening from Vertigo Games, which is in the Metro Exodus, Metro Last Light, Metro 2033, series. Looks great. Looks like a incredibly awesome choice again for a choice of IP for a VR game. It's a much less arcadey type of shooter. It's meant to be all like kind of environment based. You're living in a post-apocalyptic, mutant monster infested subway system. That's why it's called Metro, right? You think of a metro subway system. That's kind of where our society has receded to. The surface is not good, and yeah, it looks cool. It looks kind of psychological, but maybe one of these times PSVR 2 is going to get a banger app. I don't know. You going to buy a PSVR 2 now, Nick?
No. We've seen this game before and had kind of the same thoughts then. It's a standout PSVR 2 game, but no. And as you heard last episode, we predicted this to be there.
Yes, we did. So, all right. Well, one we did not predict. Arcade Chronicles from Kakao Games, coming in 2025. Not a ton to say about this one. It's got incredibly good looking graphics. It looks to be an MMO, is what I'm guessing.
It was formerly known as Arcade 2,
Arcade.
Which is a sequel to an MMO.
Okay, so that's pretty much confirmation in my book, but it looks like it leans a little more on the realism side, but definitely has some fantasy elements to it, specifically, some of the designs of the monsters you're fighting. It kind of even has a Monster Hunter style to it, when I was watching the trailer, where almost all the fights seem to be one enemy at a time. There's a couple fights where you have 4 or 5 dudes kind of chugging away at this big monster that I bet they take a long time to do. But yeah, so is it Monster Hunter but with an incredibly different aesthetic? I'm not sure, but anything to say about this one?
it it looked better the longer the trailer went.
Yeah.
As you saw more characters, more customization. But yeah, my guess is it won't be like an MMO. It'll be more like a Destiny or what do we get? The Last Descendant. I have a feeling it'll
The First
be
Descendant?
The First Descendant. In those kind of veins of like hub worlds and you going out on these missions and stuff like that, but in a more fantasy setting.
I think that's a good read, Nick.
But no, it's probably not my jam, but it didn't look too bad.
Yeah, there's specifically in the trailer that IGN posted at 1 minute and 23 seconds. Like there's a spellcaster like walking up on a big gross troll. Looks really cool. Like it's a good looking screenshot. But if I gotta play with other people, count me out. People are jerks. All right. Another one that we predicted, yours truly over here, Nicholas, predicted this one.
Thank you, everyone.
But we all knew it was not a great prediction, and we all knew it was coming. So, Pal World.
Okay.
Pal World is out now on PlayStation 5.
I guess I could have predicted that. That would
Out now.
have been really good.
Get it out now. Nintendo's coming. They're going to sue us. So
Yeah,
I wrote in my notes, Pal World is out for now. So we'll see if Nintendo has to dox them. But, we kind of figured this was coming. This is one of the biggest games of the year, released earlier this year on PC and Xbox. I think it broke 2 million concurrents or something crazy on Steam. It fucking lit the world on fire, but fell out pretty hard. So, can they survive a Nintendo lawsuit? Can they breathe new breath into the franchise with PlayStation audiences? Not sure, but
the game will be fine.
yeah. You buying Pal World?
You go into a portal when we stop recording the last episode, and then you come out of it not remembering anything that happened
Yeah.
last episode. You
Yeah.
asked me that same question.
Well, now we know it's for sure. You
no,
listen,
no,
my
it's not for
opinions
me.
change week by week. I don't know.
No,
But yes, I do go through a portal.
It's not. I'm not interested in it. But again, one of the biggest games of the year on PlayStation and out immediately. That's a big win for the show overall.
Yeah, it is. It's just funny watching a Pokemon come out and then somebody point a gun at it. I don't know. Of
course.
This is funny. All right. So next up, we kind of got a series of smaller announcements. Sean Benson, I should know her title at this point, but I don't. I think she's like some sort of community manager, like deals with a lot of relationships with other publishers and things like that. But she came out and kind of gave us a series of smaller little things.
Director, global head of third-party portfolio.
Okay, so obviously a very important person. Maybe she's the reason that Xbox doesn't get anything. Maybe she's enemy number one for Xbox. I don't know. But first up, we got the Lunar Remastered Collection coming in spring 2025. This is Lunar Silver Star Story and Lunar 2 Eternal Blue, which are a pair of 1990s JRPGs. Got really nothing to say, Nick. I know these aren't yours either, so I feel a little disingenuous even talking about them. I've heard of them, but I don't have much.
Nope.
Cool.
Move on.
Cool. Next up, a Shredder's Revenge DLC update. Beat 'em up the game. Did that come out last year or 2 years ago?
I think it was 2 years
I
ago.
think it was 2
wasn't
years
that
ago.
last year.
Yeah, so it's been out for a while now, but they're giving us 2 updates. One in the Radical Reptiles DLC, which adds Mondo Gecko and Mona Lisa as playable characters. And then they're adding for free a remixed soundtrack with some guest musicians and things like that. Cool.
Yep.
And then we got a update for Sonic X Shadow Generations from what?
No, go ahead. This is a funny announcement.
Oh, okay. From the Sonic team, which is scheduled to release on October 25th. The announcement seemed to be that they got Keanu.
Yeah, the Sonic X Generations is getting free DLC, which seems to be a mission that is based on the movie with Keanu doing the voice.
Yep. And that's going to be December 12th that mission comes available. It's also included in the deluxe digital edition if Sonic is your jam. Not my jam, but somebody's jam. All right. Fantasian Neo Dimension from Mistwalker Studios comes out December 5th. Sakaguchi, do you know what franchise he created, Nick?
I know it's a big one, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Final Fantasy.
That's right.
Yeah, so this is the dude.
Father of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, this guy's a big deal. But they showed off this game. It's been announced before. Similar to the Clay game, the Midnight Walk, the shtick about this one is definitely the diorama backgrounds. 150 different diorama backgrounds. They look great. Like, really, really looks good. I feel like this is probably what people thought when they saw Final Fantasy VII for the first time with like the pre-rendered backgrounds. We're like, oh my god, like it looks crazy. But it's a very Japanese JRPG kind of game. I was looking into a little bit about it. A couple cool things. First off, Nobuo Uematsu is doing the music. So if you're a fan of music, it's going to be a banger. And then one thing that they were saying where they're mixing up the typical JRPG combat, which I thought was kind of a neat idea, is that you can stock all your random battles and then just fight them later. So you can kind of like just put them all into a bank, just get rid of them later if you want to. Yeah. So you can just, I don't know if you have to do them all at one time, if you're like, oh shit, I got 27 and I got to do them in a row, or if you can just kind of like chip away at them. But I like the idea that if you're just not feeling it in the moment, you just want to get to the next town, you can be like, yeah, I'll do this later, but still not miss out on the XP, which is kind of a cool idea. All right, Nick, I kind of want to let you take the next one, just because you're the more excited of us about it, and you may actually play it later this year. But we got a pretty lengthy gameplay demo for Dragon Age: The Veilguard from BioWare. What's the release date on that one, Nick? Do you know off the top of your head?
October 31st, Halloween.
Halloween, yes. So probably the longest trailer in the show. They showed up a pretty long-form dragon boss fight and then a little bit of story stuff. But I know you kind of teased a little bit. You weren't super high on the fight. But what were your thoughts on this trailer?
It was fine. It looked like you laid a trap for a dragon, which led into a arena-based battle. And if you've seen the game before, it's very much like Mass Effect. In this version, you were playing as a mage character with two other companions, and you can command them to do their abilities as you're doing your abilities. And it looks like as a mage, you kind of have like a blink ability, like as you go to dodge, you disappear. I think they had, in Hogwarts Legacy, had the exact same thing, it feels like. I remember seeing that exact same animation. Yep. And it looked a lot like it too, just the way they were wielding your staff. But yeah, nothing about it looked exceptionally well. It was just like it was like a boss fight, and kind of ended on a climactic moment. As other enemies joined the fray, but no, I don't think it did the game any service, or did any goodwill toward the game. But I do think impressions of this game came out last week before the state of play, and everyone seems to be super, super high on it. Press got about like 7 hours with the game, and so I'm not going to let one bad demo deter me, but I'm also waiting for a review still. That is for sure.
Do you have a number in your head on what's that number?
Well, we're not going to get into. Well, maybe we will talk about the Assassin's Creed delay, but this is the last big game of the year that I'm even sniffing at. So
as long as it's like a 80, you're probably
I would say. My hope is 85 and above, but if it gets in the 80 to 85, I'm probably still in it.
All right. So. What does your balls tell you is the Open Critic score?
It's way too early.
No, it's not. What do you mean?
I think it'll be a high 80s.
Okay.
I think it'll be a high 80s.
But you should put a number on it, coward.
What? 87.
Perfect. All right.
God, he's the worst.
I'm going to go 84. All right. Next up. Alan Wake 2 DLC number 2, The Lake House from Remedy. This looks dope. This looks really cool. It's like honestly the coolest part of, I feel like, Alan Wake preview covers that I've been into. We saw the old house. The Federal Bureau of Control is heavily invested in this DLC. They created the lake house itself, I think, is what they said. So coming out in October. Weird, there's no specific date for it yet. I don't know what you're really waiting for on that, but just a cinematic trailer. Went into the old house, went down deep into it, and there's this creepy painting that's yelling horrible agony and murder, and just makes it real creepy. Day one, Nick? Day one?
Yeah, I already have the season pass.
Oh, okay.
I played Night Springs, so So famously, the second DLC for Control teased Alan Wake 2. So my assumption is that whatever happens in this will tease Control 2, and that is a big deal. As you heard about on this very show, my game of the year for 2019 was Control. Yeah. So anything that ties into that, I am there for. So day one, really want some Halloween games to play. So this and Silent Hill 2 would be great.
Yeah, and I think, Control 2 is going to be so good. Remedy is one of those teams that seems to just be strengthening, and just like every release they make is like, we improved this now we improve this one, now we improve this. Like kind of like Respawn or FromSoft. It's just like, there's certain teams that just know how to do it.
And to add on to my point, because John needs to play Alan Wake 2. I know last year I picked Persona 5 because I played it last year, but if I was to go by year...
That's your game of the year.
It would be Alan Wake 2. So
okay,
that's how much John needs to play it. So
luckily, good buddy Will.
Yeah, but just move that whatever. I don't know where your plates will be spinning at that point, but it goes to number one if you get it in October, especially.
Yeah. I mean, I can commit to that. I think.
Yeah, and it's not like a super long game.
No.
So.
All right. Now a little more PSVR 2 shine. We got a trailer for Hitman World of Assassins by IO Interactive coming to PSVR 2.
I wish we predicted this.
Yeah.
Because it seems to be like they either have PSVR 2 games or a PSVR 2 mode gets added to a previous game. We see that typically with Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 8. Darn it!
Hitman would have been a good one to think of.
Let's predict this one.
As I joked when we were watching it, there's a part in the trailer where he comes up and he's going to strangle a guy from behind. It's like, wouldn't it be funny if he just started giving him a massage? But yeah, it's perfectly meant for VR, and they showed off dual wielding, and who doesn't want to commit murder, right?
Hitman games are great.
Yeah, I wish I don't think they're for me. In truth, I've never really given it a fair shake.
They require a lot of patience and level learning and patterns, and I know.
But I feel like the people that are willing to do it always walk away satisfied. They're like, oh, that was great. Especially, and I just want to do that one Knives Out level that everybody talked about with the third one. All right, a couple more here. I think we're kind of getting towards the end. A couple quick ones. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered. This one was the one that was leaked prior to the state of play for anybody who's a internet hound like Nick and I are. But that's coming out December 10th. Unfortunately, I don't think either Nick or I played these back in the day, so I don't really have anything.
It's the same team that did the Tomb Raiders 1 through 3 remasters, and those were received very well. So, I mean, if this is a franchise that, if you're interested either in the PlayStation history or this is a franchise you have history with, it's probably a good combo.
Yeah. And then we got a trailer for Fear the Spotlight from Cozy Game Pals coming October 22nd. That is the PS1-inspired polygonal horror game. If that's your jam, that's your jam. But I don't think I can get scared by polygonal horror really ever.
What if I told you? Do you want to know the cool thing about this game?
Yes, I do.
It is made by a husband and wife, and that's it.
I don't care. It's not cool. No, that's cool. That's cool. I always like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They could have thought of a better studio name, though. We're the Cozy Game Pals. All right. Next up, we've seen this game.
Our podcast was called
I know. I was literally just going to make a joke about it. Whoops. Game that we've seen, haven't seen for a while, but saw it, I don't know, I feel like 2 years ago now. Towers of Agazba, which is coming to early access in November.
How do you say that?
Agazba. Agazba. Looks like a more intensive Animal Crossing is kind of the vibe I got. Where
they are describing the game as Animal Crossing meets A Link to Breath of the Wild. So,
just those two.
Yeah,
huh? Okay.
Yeah, just those small games.
Cool. Well, yeah, I mean, it looks high quality, if it's your kind of thing. But if you want to build your little farm in your little town, invite other people. They made a big point to say, like, you can invite your friends to come to your Sky Island or whatever it is. So if that's your jam, I think that it's going to be a good one of those. Lego Fortnite split screen, we're just going to kind of skip that. There's a DualSense for it. It looks horrible. There's better options out there. Don't get the Lego Fortnite DualSense.
That were announced later in the show.
Right. Dynasty Warriors Origins by Koei Tecmo. The long-running Dynasty Warrior series. I think this goes back into, definitely in the PS1? PS2 maybe?
PS2 for sure.
PS2 for sure. So, it's the original Muso, where you're fighting thousands of enemies at a time. And if you like them, you like them. But this is definitely a definite graphical update coming January 17th, 2025. I got nothing.
That's the big part. And was it, I think it was also in the enhanced for PS5 Pro section too.
I have the full list of those games that we'll go over in a sec, and I will verify, but I believe it was as well.
All right.
One of the bigger trailers, unfortunately, I almost want to bring pal of the show, Nick, on to talk about this one because he is a fan of the franchise.
He went into the portal again.
Oh, did we talk about this?
You say that every time.
Okay. I'm sorry, everybody. February 28th, we got the release date for Monster Hunter Wilds. Going to be one of the biggest release games of
Another
next
show
year.
prediction.
Yep.
Is that if it was going to be shown, we predicted a Capcom game, but if it was this one, we said release date coming with it.
Yep. But Monster Hunter World, the last large entry, not including the what was the one that came to Switch? Rise? Monster Hunter Rise?
Yes.
So not counting that one, World was the last big release. It is Capcom's #1 selling game of all time. And that's a team that owns Resident Evil, Devil May Cry, and some other shit. So big deal. But my only high level thought is that the Palicos seem fucking awesome. Like those little cats look great.
They were.
And I have severe FOMO with this franchise, but I just what was one of my issues? Clunky movement. Oh boy, is there some clunky movement in these. But it looks great. It looks like you're kind of messing around with the environment more than I can remember in the past. There's a specific shot where a person kind of takes like a grappling hook and like pulls down a bunch of, I don't know.
Like an entire dam.
Yeah.
Like water came down.
Yeah, it was cool. Really, really cool. onto an enemy to win. But going to be one of those big releases next year that unfortunately your joysticks friends will probably not have a ton to say on. So, but can't do everything. We're just two guys.
Next year's filling up. That's the other takeaway here is, as we'll get into more of the games announced here, but the beginning of the year is going to be stacked.
Well,
that's the same month as Avowed as well.
I hope that game's good. Lego Horizons Adventures got a pre-order trailer. Moving on. One of the long rumored things that Sony has been working on.
And it got a release date.
Oh, it didn't have a release date before?
Yeah, it was rumored to be November 14th.
Oh, my bad. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's November 14th.
Okay. Sorry, everybody. November 14th. I for some reason thought they already had that, but I guess that makes more sense now that was a pre-order trailer because why wasn't it up for pre-orders before?
Yeah.
But sticking with Horizon, something that has been kind of a it's a little hot button issue in the video game community is Sony's seemingly addiction to remastering things that might not need to be remastered. And the rumor was that Horizon Zero Dawn was going to be getting this treatment, and we have confirmation that is the case. The game that came out in 2017 still looks gorgeous today, but they decided they want to bring it up to speed with Forbidden West, so they are getting a remaster done by Guerrilla themselves and Nixes. They're adding about 10 hours of reworked dialogue. It's coming out pretty soon, October 31st as well. And if you already own the PS4 copy, which everybody should because they gave that game away, I think, irregardless of your extra essential whatever membership, you can upgrade to the PS5 version for just $10. So I think that's the best way to do this one. If they came out and they just said, yeah, it's going to kind of take up one of our slots for one of our big releases of the year, and it's taking up the time of one of our development teams, and we're going to charge you $50 for it, that's a much different case than this. I think this is very inoffensive, and I do, just in terms of like coming out in a month. They're not wasting a release on it. It's $10 if you want to play it. You don't have to, but it's very inoffensive to me. I don't think it really took away from anything. There's no opportunity cost here.
It's getting tired.
Oh, it's definitely. I'm not saying it's not getting tired, but I find it hard to be mad at it.
and on top of like the elephant in the room is the Bloodborne. Like get that out, and then I don't care anymore. But like, you know, the other rumor is Days Gone is about to be the next one to get this treatment as well, and you're just like,
Yeah.
like, are people buying these? Like, Last of Us is like a premier franchise, but like Horizon 1 and like,
I think so. I mean, you know, think about it, dude. If you're a new PlayStation owner, if you didn't have one in 2017, which despite, you know, you and I being here for a while, there's a lot of people that are doing that. $10? I mean, you know, granted, you're gonna have to buy it, I guess. So if you want to get into the franchise, right, when Horizon 3 inevitably gets announced in 2 years, you know, you have all versions of that game at that level. I don't know. I think it's. Again, I'm specifically not offended. Am I tired of these remakes and not getting what Bluepoint's working on and Housemarque and all that stuff? Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I'd rather Bloodborne, but everything I've heard about that is that the frame rate is fucking it all up, and whatever. They should be able to figure it out.
I wish I could find which episode we talked about that when it was rumored like that, because that was a while ago. It feels like it was over a year ago we talked about.
Yeah, it was. It was because there was like the Lego game, which obviously is coming out, and then the remake, and Horizon 3, and the show. And there was like that day that they came out. Like,
right. But then when this was announced, the Lego game, we thought like that was the remake. That was the remake, and then to find out later that the remake is true, I don't know.
It's fine, but as long the big thing is they are not positioning it as one of their big releases for the year, and I think that's a big difference.
No, but still, it feels bad. I mean, your big first party games this year are 2 remakes: Last of Us Part 2 and this, and Lego Horizon Adventures and Astrobot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, from a first-party standpoint, it's not great, but, you know, I mean, you still got to include, again, first-party if we're talking, but you got Rebirth, you got Helldivers.
I'm just saying, if this was Xbox, it would not go over as well. But it's PlayStation's in the lead. I just really wish they would just, I don't know, do something else.
But yeah, but again, I don't think there was an opportunity cost, which is why I'm not like I don't think it took away from anything else that they're working on. You know?
I don't know that, but there's just so many other games that I'd rather remake.
That's a fair point. Yeah, it's like why this one? It's because Herman Hulst is the president. That's why.
My baby gets first. Days Gone second. Maybe Bloodborne.
I did like that they completely retooled the baby Aloy model, which anybody who was around when that game got dropped, everyone was, oh my god, she's so ugly. Oh, it's hideous. Kill it with fire. But they seem to rework that. But
and to your point about as far as the state of play is concerned, they're gonna bounce it back so hard that they're lucky they can sneak this in there.
They did it perfectly. And what Nick is of course referring to is the next announcement, which is a Stellar Blade Nier Automata crossover. Nick, woo! It's not exactly what I wanted, but you know, I'd be lying.
I get a half point for prediction that Nier is going to be here in
sure.
some form.
Sure. You know, they started with a Stellar Blade update. Hey, we're adding photo mode. Hey, which is dangerous in and of itself. We're adding the OST soundtrack onto streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, things like that. But then they did they cut away, and I heard one. It's similar to when Hades 2 came. I was like, wait, I know that immediately. And then they showed the pod, which is 2B's like little droid guy or drone guy, and then 2B, and the music made me want to cry. I love the music. So don't know what this is. Don't know if it's some little rinky dinky. Hey, you can
costume.
It's just a costume. That's where I'm setting my expectations to not be heartbroken. I would love it if this is one of those random, like, holy shit, they added a 4-hour thing. Like, can you believe it? And I'm not saying it is, but I'm crossing my fingers. But
just a Nier themed mission would be a nice little
fine.
throw. But
what I'm guessing, is they're going to add an area in Stellar Blade, because you got the map, right? And it feeds off to the areas.
Right.
One's going to be the amusement park, which is a big area in Nier, or it could be the forest or whatever. And
there is an amusement park area in the game. You just didn't get to see it.
Oh yeah, that's right. She rides around on the roller coaster or whatever. they'll figure out some way to have her. That's what I'm gonna say it is, and but I'll move on because I know not everybody's Nier Automata.
No,
super fan of the game.
so hold on. So Nier, your baby, Nier Automata, 2B, at this point has collaborated on so many
Yeah,
games.
like number one collaborator.
Yeah, it's like actually kind of obnoxious. Like if you have a Japanese video game with female characters in it, they have done a 2B collaboration.
Sex sells, baby.
I like I said, I thought, and Tokyo Game Show is this weekend. There's very much a chance for another Nier game to be mentioned or announced. But I mean, do you think that the love of this character will lead to a sequel of some kind?
Yes. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I don't. There's not going to be. There will be another Nier game. Does it have 2B in it? Probably not.
No, I don't think so.
But I think the franchise will continue. I don't think it'll be Nier Automata 2. I think it'll be Nier something. That's it.
If it ever is Nier Automata 2, I just want to be in the same room.
I know.
And I somehow can videotape you.
That's why I was like, I felt like we were so close. Like, really weren't, but it felt like that. Also, I just looked it up. 29 video game collaborations for Nier.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they had one with Babylon's Fall. You remember that one?
No, I try to forget.
You don't?
The
oh yeah, no, you remember.
lunch.
You're just being a jerk. All right, real quick here. Let's keep it moving. We're almost done here, Nick. I got to get home to my family at some point. PS Plus October update. We're getting Dead Space, WWE 2K24, and Doki Doki Literature Club for.
Move on.
Okay, but Doki Doki's great. Don't ignore it.
Dead Space is great. Don't ignore that.
Well, yeah, but everybody knows that. They're adding Last of Us Last of Us Part 1 to the PS Plus catalog. They showed off what they call the Chroma collection of controllers and faceplates to the PlayStation. Yeah,
Let's move on.
the green one looks nice.
Let's move on.
All right, and here is a current list of all the PS5 Pro games that are officially enhanced right now.
Because they added something.
Since like the trailer or since the State of Play?
The State of Play added more games that were not previously announced.
Oh, yeah. So what we got at least confirmed right now is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Horizon Forbidden West, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, Gran Turismo 7, Hogwarts Legacy, Alan Wake 2, Stellar Blade, Dragon's Dogma 2, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, Dragon Age The Veilguard, The First Descendant, Crew Motorfest, Resident Evil Village, Demon's Souls, Resident Evil 4 Remake, F1 24, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and Spider-Man 2. Those are the official games as of this time.
Yeah, so some more upcoming games is nice. Metal Gear Solid Delta, which you predicted, but no more than this. Little cut, but
Yeah, that one, and then like
the Veilguard,
yeah,
is another upcoming game. But yeah,
and Shadows.
Yeah, Shadows was previously
announced.
announced.
But there was also one more game, Nick. There
They
was
had
also
to have one more game.
There was also one more game that's coming to PS5 Pro Enhanced.
which Cerny teased.
Yeah, we knew
Leading into this.
Yep. And I was kind of upset because he said more games, but it was just one. But it's real. It's been rumored forever. It's been kind of annoying how much it's been rumored, but we finally get our Ghost sequel with the Ghost of Yotei. Taking place about 300 years after Ghost of Tsushima in the year 1603. We're getting a female protagonist. We're getting the northernmost main island of Japan, which is Hokkaido, a very snowy area. And it's fucking gorgeous. Go figure. Go figure. That's going to look amazing. So I got a couple other notes here just about the game, Nick, but just if you want to gush real quick or if you want to.
Well, first off, how good does it feel to get and we got this tease earlier. When you see the PlayStation Studios logo and then it's Horizon Adventures, you're like, God damn it.
Yeah, that didn't feel good.
When you get the PlayStation Studios logo and it's one of the many studios that we complain about on this show, and I know this is the one that we knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like there was no secret. This is not a surprise. But yeah, seeing that and getting what again, that we love this platform. We love PlayStation First Party Studios games for, and again, another game to showcase why. Ghost of Yotai looks amazing. Every shot here just so wonderful. You got what is it? You got like some kind of ukulele on your back. I forget what the instrument is actually called.
Shamisen. God damn it!
You're dual wielding swords. Just a lot of great shots. And it looks like there's definitely a wolf companion mechanic. I'm assuming it's similar to the foxes of the first game, where they were kind of like a collectible in Ghost of Tsushima. No, everything's exciting. Moving the time period forward is a great thing because now you're talking there'll be different mechanics. The trailer ends on a gun going off, a gunpowder rifle going off. So there will be more to that, and just I'm it's funny. Final Fantasy is going through kind of like a down period. Their games aren't selling. Yeah. And people are wondering well, what can they do? And it's it's really hard because they reinvent that franchise every game. It's a new protagonist, new story all the time. But when it comes to other game franchises, I'm like, that's the smartest idea. Like Jin Sakai's story is over. Let's move on and have, a new protagonist, a new story, and a new region. And it'll keep the game even more fresh. It's not just a buildup of mechanics. It's a new location with a new person, and everything they showed, I'm there for.
Yeah,
I'm there.
Yeah, I can't believe how woke it is, though, man. It's just so woke.
God,
I know that's discussion online because it's a female protagonist. Everybody, it's woke.
It's every.
Yeah, we're not going to even entertain that. I did want to talk real quick about the year they chose, 1603. Which was the year that the imperial court conferred upon Ieyasu to the title of shogun. So he was basically the shogunate was established in this year, which kind of led into a period of peace and prosperity and lots of arts, which is why I think that the character has it's a shamisen is what it is, the little guitar thing. So kind of a little bit of context on that. But yeah, I was just kind of looking up, where is Mount Yotai, right? And I'm always curious with geography and things like that. And, I was just looking up the area because, again, northern Japan, they get a ton of snow, more snow than you could believe. And there's specifically, I looked up, where does the most snow happen? And there's a town called Niseko that gets about 10 meters of snow or can up to get 10 meters of snow a year, directly right next to Mount Yotai or Yotei. So I would imagine there's going to be a lot of snow theming, winter theming probably throughout the game. And then secondly, one thing that I really, really liked about it is I feel like there's a very clear Western feel. When Westerns, right? Like cowboys and, spaghetti Westerns specifically.
There's a lot of similarities always between this, like a samurai or Ronin and your cowboy.
Yep.
There's a lot of similar themings.
But the music really, really echoes, I think, something like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Yojimbo, some other Kurosawa movies. Obviously, the first game had a lot of, I don't know if they officially even named the black and white mode Kurosawa mode. They might have. So anybody out there who's digs this kind of shit, check out Yojimbo, check out Sanjuro. Those are two older Japanese movies about these kind of characters that really play into the theming and whatnot. But super exciting. I mean, you're up, Blue Point, you're up. Bend, you're up. Housemark, let's just see whatever. I want to see what everybody else is doing, but this will keep us satiated for now because we're not gonna find out probably till this one drops.
That's really the only kind of disappointment here is that this was the most obvious answer to one of their studio questions, and that the rest of them are just we don't know what any other studio is doing at this point. So, but still a great one. It's still I'm just curious. 2025 is going to be big. A lot of games are coming out. It's just I wonder, does Sony have it in it for another exclusive? Is the rumored Spider-Man Venom game also coming out next year? And how soon is this game coming? Because they've been pretty good about, as we saw with Astrobot, is the announcement to release is that it happens. So I wonder if this game is sooner than we think. That we will see it next spring or next summer like the original.
If you're Assassin's Creed Shadows, you better hope it's further than sooner. That's all I'll say to that.
Yeah, let's add that on because today Assassin's Creed got also delayed to February to join Avowed and Monster Hunter Wilds. I think it was February 18th.
Yeah, and it was interesting because yesterday there was reports going around that they canceled all of their preview coverage and they canceled their TGS video or something they were going to do. So it was like, what's going on with Assassin's Creed? And then we got the news today that
I saw this is unconfirmed, obviously, that they were supposed to be in the state of play as well.
really, that would have been weird.
Yeah, well, Sony likes to do that.
Sure.
Concord and Marvel Rivals in the same showcase doesn't make sense either.
That's fair. That's a good point.
But yeah, I mean, that now Assassin's Creed Shadow has this to look forward to being compared to, and I don't want to be in that comparison.
No, you don't want to. You don't want to go toe to toe with the Sony first party. The only person who can do that is Nintendo. Sorry, Gorilla.
So obviously the timing is hilarious that this game gets announced and the game gets delayed, but I don't think the two are related. I think Shadows is just not ready, and they're crunching and trying to fix the bugs, and it's just not at a state that they feel comfortable giving it to press and having what happened to Star Wars Outlaws happen to their premier franchise. So, but I will say between those two games, Star Wars Outlaws and now having a Ghost of Yotai next year, I doubt I'll be touching Shadows. I really do.
Yeah.
Like unless it's blowing, it's just blowing the gaming world up because it's the best Assassin's Creed, which I don't think so. But I'll just probably be skipping that one and having this be my game of choice.
All right. Well, and then today I did just one last note on it. I saw that the actor who's playing the lead, her name is Erika Ishii. She is seems like very involved in the video game space. She was in Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Deathloop, and looks like there'll be a whole bunch of others, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So somebody who's definitely familiar with working in this industry. So
yeah, one thing Sony does not mess up is casting.
No, they're good at that. That's the state of play, Nick.
So, we did do our predictions last week, and before we got into like Bloodborne remake and other stuff like that, we were pretty on target. I think the only thing not here is Square Enix. Square Enix.
Is there some bad blood going on, Sony and Square Enix? What's going on?
I don't know.
They're like, hey, you said you were going to buy us, and you didn't.
Rebirth didn't sell as much as you said it would.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, it is interesting, but maybe again, Rebirth was here,
right? Right. So they took a year off. Sorry, guys, leave us alone.
yeah. That just maybe is not time to show Kingdom Hearts 4. It's too far away. But is there anything that you were disappointed wasn't here?
It feels stupid to say Bloodborne, so I'm not even going to.
Right.
No, I think I've been crushed too many times with shitty showcases that my expectations
it being a state of play,
they're pretty in check now.
Tempers you.
Like no, I wasn't disappointed that anything wasn't there. I mean, Mina the Hollower, if I'm being stupid, being dumb, but no, I think it was a pretty good one. I think anybody complaining about it, it might not have been all bangers for you, but I think there was something for everybody. It's one of those, right? When people put these shows together, they don't think that they need to impress every single person with every single announcement, right? So we need to make sure there's a little bit of something for everybody, and Ghost is going to take care of most of that. But I also thought, some good surprises, right? Like the Midnight Walk to look really, really cool. I'm curious to see more about that. And, Alan Wake 2 DLC kind of gave me a little more like, maybe I should put a little bit of expediency on getting to that one. But, there's a decent amount of little stuff that is kind of annoying, but no, it was good. I got Nier and Ghost. How can I complain?
I mean, if they can keep on this cadence of ending a state of play with a big announcement, that goes a long way. Like I said, last state of play was a 6 out of 10, but Astrobot is like a 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Same here. I think and I don't want to be a broken record, but you go into these things, you're just like, God, I just want one or two for me. Mm-hmm. 20 over 20 games, can one or two be for me? And I think this showcase did that. And again, we got good gameplay. We got a lot of release dates. The this fall's filled out more, and then early next year filled out more with January and February getting some more games. And I would, again, the same complaint. I wish Sony would just say, let the reins off and be like, this is everything. Here's what you got. You want a PS5 Pro? This is what our first party studios will have on that thing. And you want
I would at least wish we could stick into like knowing just a year out. Like I'd be good with like a year in advance, but meh.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a new era we live in. New world.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cyberpunk. Your favorite.
Hey man, leave Cyberpunk alone.
Leave me alone.
And this is kind of the end of the news season. I mean, until December 14th or no, December 12th. December 12th. The Game Awards.
Day after your birthday.
Yeah.
Your 40th?
I wouldn't have said that on the air.
Oh, I did though. I went there, buddy.
This podcast is not going up now. So it'll be kind of silent, and but like I said, I think if this Game Awards will be huge.
It's actually your birthday, bud.
No, is it?
That's what it says. Ceremony date December 11th, 6:30 p.m.
Oh, there you go. Happy birthday to me.
Ooh.
Wolverine trailer. So again, it's kind of, so what would you, so we did a Twitter poll, but before we let the voters tell us what they gave it, what are you giving this showcase?
Strong B.
Strong
B. Yeah, I mean, I think they went a little heavy on just like little minor bullshit announcements, little updates here, little updates there, some weak remasters, but the core of it, like if there was be a couple pillars, I think Ghost of Yotei, obviously a definite pillar. I thought the Midnight Walk looked cool. I thought Hell Is Us could be cool. And again, I kind of mentioned I'm not super upset about the Horizon thing. It is what it is, but it's better than a lot of the state of plays that we get, and so I can't sit here and pretend that I'm upset about it. So I'm a reasonable adult. That's a B.
Yeah, you kind of rate it for what it is, a state of play. I reduced mini showcase, and I'm in the same boat of B. You have the release dates. You end on one of the most anticipated games now for a lot of people. That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what do you think our voters decided?
CDBA in that order.
DBCA.
Stupid.
And
Dumb.
people there's
trolls. Bunch of trolls.
There's one comment. We'll get to that. But I would love to know where you would come from to give the.
Well, it was interesting when I was preparing for the show. I had the PlayStation stream up while I was looking through it, and which had the chat on the right hand side, and it was the most obnoxious thing. Like
As
every single thing, right? Ghost comes up. It goes yawn 1 out of 10. Like where's Grand Theft Auto? Where's Bloodborne 2? It's like I again trolls,
right?
But like man.
Yeah. And Jesse did comment on our Twitter account. He said, a solid B, I think. I'm excited for Ghost of Yotei and all the content for Astro and Stellar Blade. I'll definitely pick up Horizon Remastered 2. God, both of you. Oh, Jesus. Hell Is Us looks pretty good.
You're such a grouchy old man.
And I'll keep
I call you an old man.
That. Also, still disappointing not to hear anything from Sony's other studios. Where's Spider-Man 2 DLC, and what about Bend and Housemarque? Surely they'd have something to show by now. They need to sell us more on PS5 Pro. And I agree. Is Spider-Man 2 getting DLC?
Not if Venom is a thing. I mean, you can make the same argument with the first one. The first one had DLC and it had a little spinny off boy, but I don't know. Like Insomniacs can only do so much, and you start having to worry about like where does it fit into the schedule, and so unless if it's like a Ghost early in the year, then a DLC, and then I don't know. I don't see how you can make it work, personally.
Yeah, it's like I want to say no, but they pulled this with Horizon Forbidden West and God of War. So I'm hesitant to say a solid no at this point, but I just know they might turn around in early next year and say, "Hey,
Forgot
DLC's
about
come
Valhalla."
out."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was earlier, that was a year ago,
Yeah.
December.
Yeah.
We played it this year. So I don't want to say no, but
Yeah, I don't know,
It seems I don't know. Sony's strategy just,
It's just like-
blows my mind sometimes with like being secretive about God of War Valhalla. Like DLC is supposed to keep you from trading in the game, and I know that's less and less relevant as the rise of digital. But it just seems weird to me that they're just like, I don't know. I mean, at the Game Awards, Spider-Man 2 DLC for
I got that
February.
game digitally, right? Yeah, I got that game digitally.
Spider-Man 2 DLC, but that could still happen. So I wouldn't. I guess I wouldn't rule it out at this point.
No, I just it's.
But by next spring, if we don't hear anything, it's
once Venom, Venom comes out and then Wolverine gets a date, then people will be like, "Where's Spider-Man 3? Where is it?" So it's like it's only got so many people over there.
right. And this is all off of rumors. Plans change. So not to say that Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man Venom is a thing, but it was in the leak. So
Yep.
all right. Well, that's it, John.
Yep.
You got any,
Time to hit the dusty
got any
trail.
teases? I mean, you're going to be playing Echoes of Wisdom.
Yeah, that comes out tomorrow. Softer reviews than I thought, but still excited to play it. It's sitting at 85 right now on OpenCritic. So yeah, I'll be picking that up. I'm really enjoying my Danganronpa 2 time right now. It just got Metal Nekamaru. I know it's a little slight spoiler for anybody who's playing Danganronpa 2. I know there's a lot of you out there, but that's really weird. So, but still doing that. So yeah, it'll take up my time.
Yeah. And I'm still playing through Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I'm going to pass on Plucky Squire. I think what Jesse said is kind of the sentiment a lot of people are saying, and even though it is reviewing well, it just doesn't sound like for me.
At least not right now.
Which means not ever.
That's true.
So I'll continue playing that. But TGS is this weekend, so the 26th through the 29th, there'll be a giant Death Stranding 2 90-minute presentation. 90 minutes of Kojima. That'll be fun. Xbox is doing a giant TGS showcase this Thursday. Xbox and TGS, who knows what to expect there?
Yeah, I feel like they tried already. They're like, hey, we got Persona and all this Persona stuff, and then I don't know, maybe it made some traction. Maybe.
So I do say, I just got done saying, there's not going to be an announcement till the Game Awards,
Right.
but yeah, this week from now there might be something to bring on the show, and of course we'll do that. But also a Metaphor ReFantasio demo's out, so that might be fun to check out.
I'm checking it out.
It's on all platforms, so if you're
Do you almost hope that you hate it? Just be like, cool, I don't have to worry about it.
yeah, kinda. No, I don't ever wish for a game to fail. I can always wait, but that would be interesting if I played that game and I was like, whoa!
I know.
But
Not counting that one out.
But to Jesse's point, it's like if the soundtrack's really good, I'm gonna be like,
That's the most obvious thing ever, Nick. Guaranteed. Did you guys get Lynn? Did you get Lynn? Where's Lynn?
Yeah, exactly. So things are not slowing down by any means. Maybe we'll just tone the PlayStation talk a little bit.
Well, we'll report what's interesting, right?
Yep.
So,
Yeah. All right, Jen.
Yeah.
What song are we ending on?
All right. Well, because it tickled me so hard when that's phrasing. When we got the Stellar Blade Nier Automata song crossover thing. So I'm pulling the song that they used in that little moment. City Ruins (Rays of Light), which is very chill kind of music. You're not gonna be turning it to max volume and cruising down the freeway with this one, but it's pretty music, pretty stuff.
Great.
I'm a softie and on the deep inside, big old softie.
You are.
I am.
You are. Beneath his hard exterior.
Yeah.
He's grumpy, but inside he's a big softie.
Yeah. Push over. You can.
He'll do whatever you want.
There you go.
If any of our listeners need help moving, John's here for you.
Yep. Especially if you live in New Zealand.
Yeah, the more exotic the location, he's
Right.
more likely to come. So,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the State of Play and found something in there for you to be excited about. But if not, that's okay as well, because there are plenty of games to play. But again, we thank you for listening. We will, of course, be back next week with our normal show with the normal up to 6 things. We hope to see you then. Bye.
See ya.
they feel like desire.